I got myself a real pigeon here.
I think acting would make me happy. It would give me everything I needed out of life to be successful. And those things was to make a lot of money, become very popular, and be very influential and motivational to young black.
The black man with the proud afro who once stood shoulder to shoulder with the legend Bruce Lee and made the whole world take notice. In the 1970s, Hollywood was a playground for white actors. Black men were only cast as criminals or servants. Jim Kelly appeared and shattered the mold, punching straight through prejudice. He became a symbol of strength, freedom, and black pride. The press called him America's new black martial arts star. Studios chased after him, audiences cheered for him. Kelly was on the verge of becoming a legend. But just a few years later, Jim Kelly disappeared. No scandals, no accusations, no farewell. Hollywood went silent, and so did Jim Kelly. What made a rising star suddenly vanish from the movie map? Was it racism disappointment, or did he simply choose to walk away before being consumed? Let's find out in this video. The final secret will shock you. On May 5th, 1946, in Paris, Kentucky, a boy named Jim Kelly was born. But Paris was far from romantic. It was the Deep South, still soaked in racial segregation, at a time when American cinema rarely allowed them to be heroes. Jim Kelly became a cultural icon, the man who brought the spirit of black power into martial arts cinema. Bruce was so fond of Jim Kelly that he wanted to invite him to collaborate on another film. He said, "Jim, we're going to do another film. Will you come back to Hong Kong with me and star in it?" But sadly, Bruce passed away before he could keep that promise. In 1974, Jim Kelly broke through even further. Black Belt Jones hit theaters, an action film full of funk, speed, and swagger. That same year came Three the Hard Way, starring Kelly Fred Williamson and Jim Brown. Three black men taking on a white supremacist organization. Across America, black audiences flocked to theaters. For the first time, they weren't the ones being chased. They were the ones holding the guns, the ones who won. Kelly went on to star in Hot Potato Black Samurai and Death Dimension. Even when the scripts were simple, his image remained powerful. A black man who was strong, cool, and unbreakable. The tall afro, the spinning kick like a blade. The cold smile, everything about him became legendary. He was the face of black kung fu. At that peak, Jim Kelly seemed to have it all. Fame, freedom, and a place in history. After Enter the Dragon, Jim Kelly became one of the most sought-after faces in Hollywood. But along with the glory came a heavy shadow, the shadow of Bruce Lee. The media constantly called him the Black Bruce Lee, a label that sounded flattering, but was steeped in bias. To the press, Kelly was never just himself. He was always the replacement, never the original. To Kelly, it wasn't a compliment. He respected Bruce Lee, deeply saw him as an older brother, but being branded the black version made him feel erased. "I don't want to be the Black Bruce Lee. I want to be Jim Kelly." He said, cool, calm, and firm. Later, he admitted that what he didn't like about Enter the Dragon was that he never had the chance to show his own style. It was Bruce Lee's film, and although he deeply respected him, Kelly couldn't fully display his true technique. Signs reading "For Whites" only still hung over diner doors, and suspicious looks toward black people were a daily routine. In that world, Jim Kelly grew up as an outsider. He had to learn how to survive before he could learn how to live. His father worked in a factory, his mother ran a small service for Navy personnel. They were poor, but they never bowed their heads. Kelly was often mocked by classmates for the color of his skin. Instead of hiding, he fought back with action. He exercised, ran, and trained his body like armor against the world. At Bourbon County High School, Jim Kelly became a sports phenomenon. He played football, track, basketball, even tennis, and in every sport, he came out on top. His achievements earned him an athletic scholarship to the University of Louisville, a huge step for a young black man in the mid-1960s. But America still wasn't ready to embrace successful black men. During one football practice, his coach publicly mocked a black player, calling Kelly a word everyone knew should never be spoken. Kelly stood frozen. Everything he believed in effort, talent, fairness collapsed in an instant. That night, he packed his bag and left campus. No letters, no goodbyes. I realized that if they could look down on someone just because of skin color, then I didn't belong there. In that moment, Jim Kelly walked away from the American dream and began his journey as a free man. And then karate entered his life, like fate. After dropping out of college, Kelly stumbled into a small dojo in Lexington. For the first time, he found a place without color lines. At 25 years old, with a cold expression and lightning-fast kicks, he was the only black fighter among hundreds of opponents, and he won the world middleweight title. That victory was more than a golden trophy. It was a punch straight into prejudice. From a college dropout scarred by racism, Kelly became the #1 martial artist in America. He opened his own dojo in California, where he didn't just teach technique, but also pride. Many of his students were actors, athletes, and celebrities, drawn to Kelly's aura of freedom, a man both fierce and calm. No one knew that inside this small room, the first black martial arts star in Hollywood history was being forged. A fateful encounter with Enter the Dragon. In 1973, Warner Brothers launched the international martial arts film Enter the Dragon, with Bruce Lee as the heart of the project. When a supporting actor was dismissed midway, the team searched for a replacement. The only requirement was simple. He had to be real, he had to fight, and he had to have presence. Someone in the martial arts community mentioned Jim Kelly, and he was invited to audition. Kelly walked into the room tall, broad-shouldered, with his afro haloed in light and eyes sharp as blades. He didn't perform. He simply said a short line and gave a half smile. That was enough. Bruce Lee nodded. He had something Hollywood could never teach the aura of a man who's fought for real, said Robert Klaus, director of Enter the Dragon. When Enter the Dragon premiered, audiences around the world were swept up in the storm named Bruce Lee. But beside that Asian legend, Jim Kelly shone with his own flame. As Williams, a proud and free black martial artist, Kelly wasn't just fighting on screen. He was playing himself, a black man standing tall in a white world. The character of Williams became a symbol of black strength. Jim Kelly was a legend forgotten in his own time. Not because he lacked talent, not because he failed, but because he was born too soon. The price of being born too soon. If Jim Kelly had lived in today's world, where black actors like Denzel Washington, Michael B. Jordan, and Chadwick Boseman are celebrated as global icons, he might have been a living legend. But in the 1970s, America wasn't ready for a man like him. Jim Kelly was a black man who didn't fit the mold. Too intelligent to obey, too proud to compromise, and too independent to be owned by Hollywood. In an industry still ruled by white faces, he was a contradiction. A black man who was handsome, confident, skilled in martial arts, and refused to bow his head. Hollywood didn't know what to do with a man like that, so it did the easiest thing: it ignored him. When Kelly threw his first kick on screen, he wasn't just fighting the villain in the movie. He was fighting the entire Hollywood system that wanted to keep black men in safe roles. The sidekick, the comic relief, or the one who dies first.